I didn't speak to her the rest of the car ride home. We pulled up outside my house, and I said thank you for taking me to the doctors. Kissed her on the cheek and went inside. I had no intention of calling her or texting her. She mentioned during the fight that well maybe we should just end our relationship now. And all I could say was wow. Just shocked that she would pull that shiz on me.
Say what?
Hello there. Don't want to make anyone wait any longer, so real quick, welcome to Reddita, where we shamelessly ask you to subscribe and like the video if you enjoy it, and where we say to smash the bell and hate ourselves for it while we go down an existential crisis mentally that slowly eats away at you day after day, video after video, late night of editing after late night of editing, until one day they find you on the roof barking at traffic with your underwear on your head blasting turn down for what from a speaker stuck in your whoa, sorry, blacked out there for a second. Anyway, on with the video. Enjoy. Just no mother-in-law. I need to rein my mom in again. How do I do this? So I deleted a majority of my posts, but I'm the girl whose mom was making choices over my birth control, clothing and hair choices, hiding my things, etc. I made a follow-up post detailing how she'd begun respecting my boundaries and all was well. However, things have been turning lately, and I don't know how to handle it this time. She was really hurt by the way I communicated to her how I felt, my boundaries and what would happen if me and my boundaries continued to be disrespected. She still brings it up sometimes now. She says that that's no way to talk to my mother. She's been getting at me a lot lately, making snippy little comments on how I do nothing and just sit around watching movies all day. I've just gotten a new, really good job in the emergency services, so I spend most of my time revising for my start date and pretty much sitting on my hands until that start date arrives. But I also keep an immaculate house, put dinner on the table every night. Basically everything that I can or should do is done. So if I watch TV, after everything I need to do is done, I really don't see the big deal at all. A few weeks before Christmas we were in her car, and she was getting at me so much that I just burst into tears. I said I don't do anything to anybody, and I just want to be left alone. I could tell she felt awful because she apologized and held my hand the drive home. I don't want it to have to get like that again for her to apologize though. Saturday night we have a phone call, and she starts telling me some pretty intimate, not inappropriate, things. She was quite maudlin. Like how she feels guarded with me because I was a shiz growing up, and how it breaks her heart because she doesn't think that'll change, and how because I was such a handful as a child that she gave up relationships because of me. She's told me in the past that I was the reason her and her long-term boyfriend broke up, and that it was my fault. Nothing to do with the fact he was cheating on her, of course. She denies ever saying this, but I remember clear as day. So along with this and other things, I just felt so guilty about everything, and that it was my fault that we don't have the best relationship, and that I make her sad and that makes me upset. I didn't tell her this though. So this past weekend I came down with a horrific case of cystitis. It was keeping me up all night and I couldn't even go to see my doctor until Monday because it was the weekend. I called her at 8:30 in the morning hysterical, asking her what to do because I was so uncomfortable and tired and in so much pain. She gave me some sound advice and I took a hot bath which eased the pain enough for me to have a 2-hour nap there. Oh, don't suggest it. I woke up and that water was freezing and just made me feel worse, so it eases off somewhat by Sunday night, but Monday morning it was back in full force. I was, again, hysterical. There was a huge amount of blood in my pee. TMI, I'm so sorry, and it was freaking me out. I called my doctor for an emergency appointment and the receptionist said that she'd have the nurse call me for telephone triage, then probably have me come in for an appointment. I called my mom and asked her that if they gave me an appointment, if she could take me. This was because I was in too much pain and too uncomfortable to even sit. I was also running a fever, and the thought of 2 buses there and 2 buses back, an hour and a half at least, made me feel worse. She said that she was going out and that it was a huge inconvenience. Y'all, I was already hysterical with the pain I was in. She told me to call her back and let me know what the nurse says when she rings. So the nurse calls and gives me an appointment in 1 hour from then. I couldn't have even gotten the bus if I wanted to. So she kicks up a fuss about how she wanted to get out, but yes fine she'll come. I didn't even bother with Macup and couldn't even bring myself to brush my hair. I felt so lousy. Mom picks me up and is giving me the silent treatment. I ask her if she's mad at me. She says a little bit. I asked her why and she said that she's sick of picking me up and taking me places. I ask her once a week if I can go for my groceries and I drive because she has my car. That is literally it. Once a week. Occasionally I'll ask if I can go see her, but sometimes she would have to come pick me up because the buses are off or I don't have the money for a bus ticket. She knows she can say no and that would be fine, so she doesn't speak to me the whole ride to the doctors. I go and she stays in the car. I see the nurse and she tells me she doesn't know how I've been living with this. The infection is so bad and that she's got Icamon because it could spread to my liver or kidneys. She gave me antibiotics and I left. I ask my mom if I can stop somewhere for milk on the way home. This displeases her too. I run in and run out and the tirade starts. She says I'm ungrateful. I told her that I'm actually very grateful for her taking me and I don't think it's fair that I'm being yelled at and chastised for needing to go to the doctors when I'm clearly in a lot of pain. She said you should have gotten the bus, I do too much for you. But like, she'd drive over a bump and I would cry because of the pain. Can you imagine me like that on a bus? I ask her for nothing. I don't ask her for money or rides unless absolutely necessary. She says that I expect her to stop whatever she's doing whenever I want her to take me for groceries. I always call either the day before or 2 days before to make sure she's free and that I go on and on and on about being independent, but then I ask her for shiz. I went off. I said that I ask no one for anything and I don't do anything to anyone, so I don't know why she constantly picks at me and doesn't do it to anyone else. A huge slap in the face. Christmas Day she mentions that my brother has made a change to his hair that she doesn't like, but that she'll never tell him because I don't want to hurt his feelings. 6 months ago, she saw that I'd given myself another small undercut and said I looked like a dyke and wouldn't speak to me for days. She said that it's a huge inconvenience to her that I ask her to take me shopping in my car, using my petrol, costing her nothing, asking days in advance. I said actually I enjoy spending that time with you, just us, but if it bothers you that much I'll make other arrangements. Then it just went on and on and on about how I'm lazy and do nothing and I tell people I'm independent, but I'm not really, and that I twist everything she says and that I'm extremely manipulative. This is nothing new. She says this in passing whenever I don't agree with her opinion on something, usually my behavior. I didn't speak to her the rest of the car ride home. We pulled up outside my house and I said thank you for taking me to the doctors. Kissed her on the cheek and went inside. I had no intention of calling her or texting her. She mentioned during the fight that well maybe we should just end our relationship now. And all I could say was wow. Just shocked that she would pull that shiz on me. She texted me later that night while I was sleeping asking if I felt any better. I said yes a little bit thank you. She didn't text me back. Tuesday she texted me are you feeling any better today? I said yes, a lot better thank you. Against my better judgment, I called her last night to test the waters. I'm in the middle of a whole police thing that I can't get into too much. I'm the victim not the perpetrator, don't worry, and she was talking about it on the phone as I believe, or have been told. It's all coming to a close this month. I'm preparing to lawyer up as I don't think it's going to go the way that morally it should. She was talking and kept repeating, speak to a lawyer, there's a time limit, and I said I know, but this is happening to me. This is my choice. I'm going to see what happens when it all wraps up before I go see a lawyer. She didn't like this at all. I had a falling out with one of my friends in the summer. She's a fishy taco, don't worry, which led to my expulsion from my friend group. No love lost. I'd sooner be lonely than put up with bullshit and disrespect and having to pretend to like people. Then in October, I had a falling out with my best friend who wasn't respecting my boundaries, was disrespecting FH in our home, and was just overall being a domineering psychopath. So I cut that shiz off. Then, obviously I've been having issues with my mother-in-law, so I'm restricting contact and have went completely NC with Bill over his bullshit. My mom keeps throwing that back in my face like you just chop people off at the knees. You're ruthless. God, you need to let go of these boundaries. She's acting like it's a bad thing that I have enough respect for myself to put a stop to shiz. That makes me unhappy. She mentioned that on the phone call, so I just ended it pretty soon after. I called her today because she was seeing my aunt who's just been diagnosed with throat cancer, and she started her radiation a few weeks ago, and my aunt won't tell me anything because she doesn't want me to worry, so I have to get all my info from my mom. She was pretty short with me, but to be fair I was too. She told me what I needed to know. She asked me when I was going for shopping, and I said I didn't know because I didn't want mother-in-law to take me because I'm VVVLC and don't like asking her for anything. BC she holds it against FH, and she said she would see what she could do about grocery shopping tomorrow, so I said I'd call her in the morning. So, you wonderful human beings, how do I broach this with her tomorrow? I feel like last time I came across quite cold and unfeeling, but I probably was at the time because I was so fed up. Any other tactics here? Thanks. TLDR, mom is reverting back to old ways and I feel powerless to stop it. Whoa, you made it to the end? Nice. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and like. I'm a new channel, and it helps a lot more than you think. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.